So let's discuss as to what changes can we expect once if Biden becomes the president of the United States. The number one thing that Joe Biden wants to do is to make sure that the dreamers are people who have gotten the DACA program. The DACA program is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. These are children who came into this country involuntarily, which means they were brought into this country by the parents, and Trump's administration actually wanted them deported. They wanted to end the DACA program, but President Biden wants to help them. He wants them to even become green card holders in this country. So what I am anticipating is that President Biden will find a path to green card and later on to citizenship for children who came in and who fall under the DACA program. I think that is excellent news. 640,000 children have benefited from the DACA program. So what am I expecting in this? I'm expecting that the DACA program would open up again once if Biden becomes the president. That's number one. And that is sometime we are looking at in the month of February. I would say January 21st as inauguration day. The other good news is that Biden plans on staying deportations. He's going to stay the deportation processes of a lot of people for 100 days until he figures out what needs to be done. He's going to prioritize only deporting people who have serious criminal records in this country. Illegal people who are re-entering the border, those are the people he intends to prioritize. But he plans on uniting families, which means there are children which have been separated from their parents because of the Trump administration. And Biden is trying hard to make sure that these wonderful little children are united with their parents. What an outstanding job. What an outstanding thought by Joe Biden on this issue. Hats off to him to think in favor of immigrants. Another thing which Biden plans on doing, which is critically important, which is commonly referred to as a Muslim ban. He plans on kind of, doing away with the Muslim ban. What is the Muslim ban? As you all rightly know, countries such as Africa and Islamic countries, they were banning people from coming into the United States. So that ban is something that Biden is looking into very carefully. He wants to get away with those bans, and he wants a better immigration system in the United States of America. Joe Biden believes in uniting families. He's a president for the people of the United States. He strongly believes that the family is the most important thing. He agrees that America was built by immigrants. It is a land of immigrants. And he wants to make sure that people who have contributed to the betterment of the United States, people who are going to be an asset to the United States, should be given an opportunity to live in this country. So this is what we are going to see coming from the Biden administration. However, if Trump gets a chance to come back, it's just going to be exactly the opposite. You're going to look at mass deportations. You're going to look at legal immigration being affected very badly. As you all can see, the repercussions that are happening in connection with the H-1B visa. So it's horrible. So end of the day, we all expecting Joe Biden to come in, and in his first 100 days, he has said that he will be making some immigration changes. Needless to say that President Trump had passed more than 400 executive orders. That's a lot. And most of his executive orders were anti-immigrant. They were against immigrants. And if you all rightly know that President Trump actually won the election, President Trump won the election because of his anti-immigration rhetoric. So at the end of the day, I would say that we are looking at some good days coming ahead from the world of immigration. It's going to be very nice if we see these changes coming in, and it's going to help a lot of people in our nation. So now, in terms of dreamers, and I must say that this is what I anticipate, that people who came in and who are currently not allowed to apply under the Dreamer program may be allowed to apply under the Dreamer program. And in the past, there was a program which was in the works during the Obama administration. My anticipation, this is my personal gut feeling, is it was known as DAPA, Deferred Action for Parents, so that of American citizen children. So let's see whether President Biden will look into DAPA, and that's going to help a lot of parents who are living in the United States. So this is what we are seeing from the world of immigration. Two different presidents, two different personalities. Now, there's something else to know about immigration, folks, and this is pretty important. So there was a program in the past, and it's still there, in some states, 287G. So under 287G of the Act, if a person gets apprehended by the local police, so under 287G, if that particular state has an agreement with ICE, then the sad reality is that when they find out that this particular immigrant in the United States is undocumented, then automatically those states used to turn over those immigrants to ICE. And these are people who did not even have criminal records. These are people who were just intercepted by police for minor crimes, just very minor crimes, and they were handed over to ICE. So now this is something that Joe Biden wants to do. He wants to get rid of this particular program to make sure that people do not live in fear. And people started getting scared, and they would not even call the police at times. For example, there were women who were victims of abuse. They would take abuse from their spouses, and they would not call the cops because they were scared that they would be taken into custody by ICE. So even victims have been in trouble. I've seen, it's sad. I've seen things in immigration that I can't even describe. And, I've seen people who should not have been in deportation, and they were put in proceedings. So these are things which I've seen. And since the past 4 years, I've litigated some very difficult immigration cases. And I must say that, it was just unbelievable as to how the laws were being kind of restricted and how conservative the laws had become and as to how much impact they had on immigrant families. So I strongly feel that, the administration at times did not even comply fully with the laws. And, there's a very good saying in law. The saying goes like this, that the true administration of justice is the firmest pillar of good government. And I strongly feel that the canons of the justice system were not being followed properly because the executive branch, which is the Trump administration, had a lot to say to judges of how they should rule, which is very sad. For example, domestic violence victims were considered to be a social group, but the Attorney General said that we should not give victims of domestic violence a chance to live in this country under the social group exception. It breaks my heart. Why should the executive branch of the government be involved in the judicial branch? The problem is that if the executive branch is given the authority to meddle with the judicial branch, which means getting into the affairs of the judges, then what kind of democracy are we living in? We call ourselves the land of the brave and the home of the free. Are we really there? We can change it otherwise. Doesn't matter. Land of the free or the home of the brave. You can call it any way. There's a reason I'm twisting my tongue over here. Are we following both of them or none of them? It's for you to understand. Brave administrations don't engage in cowardly acts. Administrations that allow the autonomy, administrations that allow autonomy do not meddle with the affairs of the judge. That keeps our democracy safe and strong. So there was a reason I was twisting my tongue over here. We need to look at the whole picture. We're a great democracy. We want to make sure that immigrants have rights in the United States. They should be having the day in court. Look at what's happening here. This is the current administration. We are a signatory to the Refugee Convention. Are we really following the Refugee Convention? Are we allowing these people to come in and have their day in court? The current administration doesn't want it, but Joe Biden is saying that people should be given a day in court. Joe Biden is saying that they should be allowed to the point that they get a chance to see a judge. But people who apply for refugees, they flee persecutions. And there's a saying in law, it's okay to allow 9 bad people get away, provided that one good person is not punished. So I don't know how many good people got into trouble because we did not give them the right to apply for political asylums. And you can read stories online about people who have been sent back and they have been killed. Not everyone is wrong, folks. Of course, there's abuse in the system. There's no legal system in the world that is not subjected to abuse. It's always going to happen. Do you know why? Because we do not live in a perfect world. And another thing about people who say that exactly, I don't like immigrants in this country. Most of you need to ask your ancestors where they came from. Albert Einstein was not born in the United States of America. Albert Einstein was not born in America. Founders of great companies such as Google and the CEOs of top companies today, Facebook, they were not born here, folks. What makes America great is the power of immigrants. So this is what Biden is saying, that we need to make sure that we are a country of law. We have a country that follows the laws, but at the same time, he wants to make sure that the right people get basically the green card and they settle in this country. So now we are going to open the floor for questions because, as you all rightly know, at 6:45 p.m. we open the floor for questions. And if you have any questions, please do let us know. And I'm going to start taking the questions from our viewers. Then we'll continue the show as usual. So it's exactly at 6:44, and start asking your questions. This is a live show, folks. And this show is for you. Again, I'm going to give a brief summary. When Joe Biden comes in, number one, he's going to open up DACA. Secondly, you're looking at the Muslim ban. He's planning on getting rid of the African ban and the Muslim ban, which is excellent. People who get picked up by criminal courts, according to him, should not be immediately surrendered to ICE. He's going to look into those facts. And also he's planning on, putting in a stay of deportation for the first 100 days until he wants to see who are the people who should actually be deported from the country or who should be allowed to stay here. Excellent job by Joe Biden, even before coming into power. I must say, I commend him. He is my hero. God bless him. And I hope he follows up with everything what he's saying. So let's take some questions and we'll continue accordingly. Bharat Kumar Vikaria, good evening to you. I'm here. Post a visa 4 years still. I can apply green card per new immigration roadway path. Well, right now, Bharat, we don't know whether you'll be able to apply. But let's see when Biden comes in. Let's see what he gets over here, for the people. But still, if you have an overstay issue, and if you came with a visa, or even if you did not, if you can get back to an American citizen, you may still qualify for a green card. That is something I want you to know. Ali Javed, good evening to you, Ali, and wonderful having you on a show. My question is, I've done my interview for 7:51 last week, and I'm married here to wait for the decision. I want to ask, can I travel during this time? The interview was no good. If they denied, can I come back easily? So Ali, I would say because of your situation, I would prefer not traveling outside the country. And right now, if your 751 document is valid, of course you're allowed to travel. But at the end of the day, I would prefer that you don't travel until you hear from immigration. And you need to look at the grounds for denial, and you may have a chance to fight your case. So don't just lose hope. Keep basically your hope strong, and keep me informed as to what's happening with your case. Keep fighting for your rights, even if the interview didn't go well. Doesn't mean that exactly you cannot win your case. There may be a possibility depending upon the facts and circumstances of your case, Ali. So thanks to Ali Javed and thanks to Bharat Kumar Vikaria. And if you have any more questions, please start typing your questions because this is a live show and this is your time with Attorney Gehi. So we are also going to continue, and we're going to also kind of basically, talk to you about other things which are happening, from the world of immigration here. Good evening. This is Malik Puji, and welcome to our show. And from where will my case be handled if I'm in Chicago? So we are immigration lawyers, and even if you're anywhere in the United States or the world, we can handle your case from the United States, or even if you're abroad. It doesn't matter where immigration law is located, we can represent you. It doesn't matter where you are. So you can choose an immigration lawyer wherever you want, that's your choice. And a lot of our cases actually coming from different states. And you can go to a website and you can reach us at info@gehilaw.com if you have any questions. Folks, one of the viewers had a question. Mr. Gehi, I have a very confidential question to ask you about my case. What do I do? The easiest way to do it, send me a direct email at info@gehilaw.com. I can review your situation and I can let you know as to what you can do about your case. So a few other things that people have to know is a question about an H-1B visa holder. This person said that the H-1B, the sad thing is that the wage rate has gone up a lot. What do you see? Unfortunately, you're stuck with the current administration. Unless and until Joe Biden doesn't come in and change that, you'll be bound by what Trump has done. And that's the sad part about it, really. So you're stuck with the current orders of Trump, wherein exactly they've hiked the fee for the H-1B visas. Now, the second part of the question was very important. So this person said that I'm a student and I have a STEM. I'm a part of the STEM program. STEM is people who are in the science, technology, engineering, and math sector. And the person said that I have an OPT, which is valid for nearly 3 years. What should I do? So what you need to do, and if you're not from India, if you're not from China, and if you don't have a PhD, easy thing for you to do is, if you're from another country, like let's take an example from Trinidad, Guyana, Africa, Poland, Japan, Germany, England, what you can do is, if you find a sponsor, during those 3 years, the sponsor can directly file for your green card. Yes, it is not necessary for you to go on an H-1B. I want to clarify that issue. It's not mandatory for a person to be on an H-1B in order to qualify for a green card. The next question was from someone from India. And his question was that I have a PhD and I'm looking at the fastest way of getting a green card. Great news for you. If you are an outstanding professor, if you are a researcher, if you have a PhD, and if you have publications, good news is that even if you're from India, you can apply in the EB1 category and get your green card out soon. If you have a master's degree, and if you are from India, try to get a PhD. And I have clients who are doing it all the time. We work with them and try to solve the problem rather than thinking about the problem. This is my humble request to people who are backlogged from countries such as India and from China. Work towards your case, work towards achieving a higher degree. It's only going to help you, it's not going to help you. Good evening, Jagdish, to Jagdish Patel. I have a case from for asylum case, I have 7 years completed. So, Jagdish, since we already have your case, we are not allowed to talk about your case online, but do me a favor, send me an email. We can call you and we can discuss further with you. So email us at info@gehilaw.com and I'd be happy to answer your question, Jagdish Bhai. But always wonderful hearing from you, Jagdish Bhai. Please email us and I'll make sure that someone gets back to you. So remember, folks, this is what you're looking at as to what's happening in the country. It's very important that, if you're out of status, make sure that you get your status in as soon as possible. Don't wait for ICE to come and, knock at your doorstep. Some very important questions from viewers. Firstly, thank you to all my viewers on Facebook, for asking these questions. And even I'm impressed by the quality of questions that I'm getting on Green Card with Gehi. One question was, Mr. Gehi, I'm an American citizen. His question was, I'm an American citizen and I sponsored my spouse who's stuck abroad for the past 3 years. It's been more than 2 years. He went for the interview and the consulate officer is not giving him a green card. And repeatedly, he's getting this message that your case is in administrative processing and a background check is pending. What can you do? You have an option. If the case has been pending for more than 2 years, you can take this case to federal court. We are federal lawyers. We argue cases in federal court. And you can file for a mandamus action. And God willing, you'll get a decision in the case in approximately 6 to 8 months. I would definitely do that. So that is my recommendation for people whose citizenships have been stuck up in this country. People whose 751s have been stuck up for a long time. People whose I-485 cases have been stuck up for the longest time. I would look at filing a mandamus action in federal court. So complicated cases is something that I've done over the years. And don't hesitate to take it to federal court. Of course, it's not easy to find federal lawyers. But if you find one, you have the right to sue immigration if your case is pending there for a very long time. It's your legal right. And there's nothing for you to worry about, especially because if you have a good case and if you've not done anything wrong, you should take it to federal court. Because you also have to understand that if you're not going to make that move, you'll be away from your relatives for the longest period of time. So that is very important for our viewers to know, that federal cases can really play a big role. The next question from a viewer was, Mr. Gehi, I have a criminal record. I have a criminal record and I want to apply for my US citizenship. What should I do? Firstly, be very careful when you have a criminal record. Secondly, get it checked from any lawyer who's a good immigration lawyer. Let him check it up. He has to check up 2 things for you. Number one, he has to make sure that it's not a crime involving moral turpitude. Secondly, we want to make sure that that the criminal matter does not haunt you. Because if it's going to haunt you, the problem is that you can wind up in deportation. Yes, you can. It all depends on the crime. But having a crime does not mean that you cannot become a citizen. That's a big mistake. I hear that from many people who tell me that, well, once if you have a criminal record, you can never become a citizen. That is incorrect. It depends upon the type of crime. It depends upon the type of crime. We've had people who are charged with petty larceny. We had people who actually, pled guilty to drinking, to DWIs. And eventually they became, citizens. It all depends upon the crime. It depends on whether it's a violation, whether it's a misdemeanor, and even if it is a felony, what kind of felony is the crime, or whether there has been rehab from the person's end, whether he has been rehabilitated. Those are factors which are looked upon by immigration very closely. So for scholars, they need to start reading section 316 onwards from the Immigration and Nationality Act that tells you the requirements of becoming a citizen. The next question was from someone who said, Mr. Gehi, I got my green card. And after I got my green card, my 10-year green card, my spouse has divorced me. After I got a divorce, I got married to someone else. But when I sponsored that person, now immigration is asking questions to my second spouse and to me about my first marriage. Be very careful in those cases. Immigration does have the right under Section 246 of the INA to question you. And any time during the past 5 years, if immigration feels that they doubt the validity of your marriage through whom you got the green card, then they can even open the case up and check whether your marriage was bona fide or whether you entered the marriage with an intent to circumvent the immigration laws of the United States. Next question was from a viewer of our shows who said, when should I apply for asylum? People tell me to apply when I'm close to 1 year. I do not recommend you that. You should actually apply if you're really having that fear of persecution in your home country because of your race, your religion, or because of your membership in a social group, or because of your political opinion. Apply it within the first 6 months because you're opening a lot of doors, because you're not accruing unlawful presence until you're sent before an immigration judge. That can really help you because you may find someone who wants to marry you who's a green card holder. That door is left open. You may find a sponsor who wants to sponsor you. That door is left open for you. So keep those factors in mind, especially when you are applying for asylums. People think that they cannot apply for asylum. That is wrong. You can still apply for political asylum. So the current law doesn't mean that you're not allowed to apply for asylum. You are still allowed to apply for political asylum. Next question was from someone who said that I'm into a marriage wherein I am married to an American citizen. For many years, I have children from him, but this person doesn't want to sponsor me for a green card and he is abusing me. What do I need to do? You can self-sponsor yourself for a green card. You can self-sponsor yourself for a green card even if your spouse, who is a US citizen, has not applied for a green card. So you are still eligible to apply for a green card. So keep those factors in mind because you're married to an American citizen, even if he has not applied for your papers. And if you are a victim of abuse, and if you are being subjected to extreme cruelty under the Violence Against Women's Act, which applies to men equally, you can still apply and self-sponsor yourself for a green card. So folks, this is Attorney Naresh Gehi, and today we spoke about the changes which we can expect once if Joseph Biden becomes a president. Thank you for watching this program, Green Card with Gehi. Feel free to share this video and we'll be back again with our viewers, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday. Keep sharing the show. The instant program constitutes an attorney advertisement under the laws of the state of New York. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome, and we handle immigration cases from all over the US and the world. And you can reach us at 718-263-5999 for a free initial personal consultation.